Good evening. Welcome. Oh, look at. I swear. Ay, Dios mío, with Linda Lynn. That's what the name of the show should be called. Ay, Dios mío, with Linda Lynn and Miss
Am I
Chrissy.
going to be like the next Sofia Vergara?
Yeah, you might be. Ooh, la la. Rrr.
No, I mean, she's like really funny. Like, I'm talking about.
She
you
is.
Just
She's,
listen
and
to
she's
her,
gorgeous.
But just when you listen to her talk, like, I actually, I used to think that she did that on purpose, that accent. Like,
Do you think she could turn it off?
No, it's so heavy.
It really
And
is.
like so hilarious that at first I thought it was just part of her, the character, and it's not.
It's her.
Really her.
It's really her, yeah.
And I think she's.
That's why
pretty funny.
people love her so much.
Yeah, but
But welcome,
welcome,
yes,
welcome everyone. This Tuesday night at Could Be You TV. Moi, Linda Lynn, and the beautiful Miss Chrissy.
Hi, people.
So,
Welcome. 10 p.m. You know where to be. We're feeling very festive this week now that, Thanksgiving's over and Black Friday passed. And so Linda jacked her daughter's tree.
Well,
It's a beautiful tree.
Let me give
so
her
we have
a
to give her a shout out. Yes,
Thank you,
Tiana,
Tiana.
for letting us borrow.
I basically almost had a fist fight with her to lend me the freaking tree. I mean,
I
you
told
know,
Linda, go to the dollar store. There's like a million cute little
I
Christmas
don't have time
stuff.
to go. I just didn't feel like going.
No, but she wanted to go to Home Goods.
Yeah.
Because her obsession with Home Goods is like, it's way up here.
Yeah.
I think every day I see Snapchat, she's at
Yeah,
Home
look,
Goods.
look. Hello, everybody. You already know, like a boss. That's my
boss.
hashtag. That
And we
is
got the
my sign.
coquito, which
Well,
thank you
and
to
yes,
Lulu.
and we have to shout out Lulu for this absolutely
Lulu, I like
beautiful.
the coquito.
Not only was it delicious, but this bottle is absolutely so cute. So I have to give her a shout out, and that's what we're having right now. And I also shout out to my daughter Tiana for making this absolutely delicious apple crumb.
Very delicious.
It was nice and hot, and with ice cream, and it was semi-melted, but I got to eat it, and it was delicious. Thank you, my love.
So we've got the coquito, we've got the Christmas tree, and we have melted apple pie, which you cannot have any Christmas holiday season without a nice warm apple pie with melted ice cream.
So remember, people, melt it. That is the key.
And if you don't know how to cook it, you better learn because men like a woman who can cook.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what?
Or can order good takeout.
Well, in my case, I have to give a special shout out to my hubby because he is like the chef in the house, and you have to see him.
Oh, I've been to a few
You have
of your
to see
parties.
him
Not enough,
cooking.
but I've been.
It's just you. First of all, you can't even be near him in the kitchen. He just totally goes off. Like he's like truly. What is Chef Gordon?
Oh, Hell's Kitchen?
Hell's
Is that
Kitchen.
what we
He
call it?
can be like that because God forbid you go anywhere near where he's cooking something, and he's so creative when it comes to his meals.
Passionate.
And every day he's doing some kind of concoction with the food, and it's like he makes his own recipes. Like, and he doesn't even want to tell you what's the ingredients. He's like, he's never given. I'm like, I don't even want to do it. I'm just asking. So.
But sure you would try and you couldn't even come.
I probably
come
couldn't
close,
even cook.
but-
He's like the cook in the house, and the
That's
kids
good.
enjoy it, and I love it. So shout out to hubby.
Shout out, Richie. I'm
Yes.
coming over for dinner soon.
Mm-hmm.
I want some steak and potatoes.
It's almost written on the. So what are we eating tomorrow? Tomorrow we're gonna have blah 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 blah. blah. I'm like, oh my goodness.
On the
like,
board?
No, I'm
Okay.
saying like
Every
that's all he
day,
needs to
take
do.
a picture of the board and send it to me. And while I'm at work, I'll
Okay.
decide if I want to come over after or not. I need a nice, good cook. Well, I mean, not that I don't get it. I get fed pretty good, but I've been learning how to cook myself the past 2 years.
I'll
so.
feed you.
Arr.
So how was Thanksgiving, everyone?
Everybody, yes, everyone in the chat right now. We have, always have great support, and we appreciate everybody's
Yes, thank you,
love.
everyone.
Did you, real quick, because Black Friday and everything just passed, and I want to thank you for helping me buy the only thing that I needed to get on Cyber Monday, and it wasn't even cheaper than I thought it would be.
Oh.
But did you do any Black Friday shopping?
You know what? I don't.
I don't either.
I have no desire.
I was at work.
I am basically a last-minute shopper.
Me
So
too.
I
I'll
don't,
go December 23rd.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
And that's when
I
the
don't think
real
I wanna
fights
go
and that's
that
when the
late.
real fights are
Yeah.
happening.
No, I think first of all they're overrated. If I don't need anything right now, I am not gonna go get it. I just feel like it's just for the experience. I think I don't want to see myself in that mayhem. By the time you get there and you stand on those lines,
It's just
and
not fun. Like, I feel like when I want to go shopping, like, I want the time to walk around and enjoy, like, looking at different things. And sometimes the best things you find are through the, if it's closed, it's like through the racks, or, when people aren't in a rush to get something. By the time I always get to something, it's like, it's not in my size,
you know
or there's no
I
more.
just feel it's just going to be there. They just jacked up the prices just to say that they lowered them. And I don't know. I don't feel like.
That's like Kohl's. Kohl's always says regular price, $49.99. We're marking it down to $25. Oh, it was probably that price the whole time. You're just making it look like it was.
Right, that's what I don't know. I mean, I would do it for the fun of it. You walking around shopping at 3, a.m. or something like that.
No, it's not fun to me. Like, I want to be in bed watching TV. I want to be watching a movie, like maybe with a drink in my hand, snuggled up next to some hottie, and call it a night. I'm not trying to go shopping or get punch someone in the face, because
all the
I
traffic,
think that
and you can't find parking.
People get crazy.
For
people
one
get
night,
crazy.
How much cheaper can it actually be? I don't know.
A lot.
But it depends what.
That's why people go. It's why
what
people
exactly
go.
are you looking for? Is every single thing, every item
I want to know
sale?
if anybody watching right now
what was the cheapest
has
thing you
found
got?
a great deal that they wouldn't have gotten if they didn't go out on Black Friday. We want to know. Tell us right now in the chat, and please, like, I'm dying to know what the hell is that.
I want to know too. What is it?
Like, you don't have a TV already that you have to go out and buy a TV for $30 that's originally like $500.
Well, unless it's like the new model that just came out like yesterday and it's like 75% off.
I heard people, the new iPhone came out, people were like, it's just crazy how these people wait online. Like, I mean,
yeah, but I don't think the iPhone was on Black Friday sale. I think they just wanted to get it. I doubt it very highly.
I did hear a funny story, though, about these people that were camping out, I guess, for the new iPhone or something, and somebody in a bear costume went and trampled all over the tents.
When was that?
Just the other day on Black Friday. Like, somebody was, like, messing with all the people that were waiting, so.
Oh, I didn't see that, but But I just want to give, first of all, how are we looking, liking my
You look so smart. Oh, my God.
My nerdy look?
I think people with glasses would probably take offense to that, because you know what?
But it's a cute nerd, I mean, you know how many sexy girls love the cutie, nerdy guys?
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah. So,
sexy girls love nerdy guys. The nerds are taking over.
But I want to give a quick shout out to Mom. My mother-in-law, I call her Moms, but she did an absolutely amazing job on Thanksgiving. The dinner she cooked, it was awesome. And I want to give you a fun fact that people get a kick out of it, because obviously my name is Linda.
Oh, shit.
We have Richie.
I'm not Richie, but right? Yes, her husband Richie.
But then his father's name is Richie and his mother's name is Linda.
Oh, so it's like a tradition.
So Richie had to go and look for me far and out just to find somebody with his mom's name.
Is that why he asked you? Because he was like, oh, your name's Linda.
Yeah, that's it. I'll take you. And you're
hot.
And you're Latina.
And you're hot.
And that's it. You're Puerto Rican.
You got the flavor. I know.
But shout out to her and Pops for making an absolutely amazing meal, and having the family together and doing what you do and just eating and.
Yeah, shout out. And
shouting
and
bullshitting and.
They're such sweet people, because I remember, I think it was Tiana's birthday, and I came to your house, and it was the first time I really met a lot of, like, your family, besides your kids, and they go, you're Chrissy. Like, knew who I was.
So famous.
It was really cute, because, like, you don't think somebody you don't know
that they know
knows who you are when they see you. And I was like, it was really sweet that she, like, approached me like that, because sometimes people are just like, oh, hi.
Yeah,
but she was really sweet and welcoming, and, like, was excited that, like, she finally got to meet me, because I'm sure she watches the show. And so
shout out, Moms.
We love it. Thank you
Linda
so much,
Madame.
Moms.
And it's funny I'm bringing that up, because on the at dinner, so we do this thing every year where I think one of my nephews or nieces, they made like a turkey.
They made
paper.
a turkey?
Well, like paper, out of paper.
Okay, I was going to say, it's
then,
not out of the ordinary that somebody made a turkey on Thanksgiving.
So you pass it along, and everyone
writes what they're thankful for.
Well, not even writes it. You just say, you hold up the turkey, and you say.
I've seen this lately. This is like a thing that people do now.
Yeah, we've been doing that for a couple of years now. So it went around, and everybody was thankful for, whatever they were thankful for. And
That's
of course,
cute.
my son, he said he's thankful for his car.
I saw that video.
You saw that
family,
video?
his health.
Yeah,
Did he say
I
his
did.
family, his health, and somebody else said, and your car? And he was like,
car.
and my car.
Right, that was I put it on Snapchat.
Listen, we have to bring this up because obviously we're so fortunate and we're thankful. Thanksgiving gives you an opportunity to be, aware of what you're thankful for and what you have in your life that other people might not have, or
Absolutely.
your health especially. I think that's most important because your health is what keeps you here. So as long as you're taking care of yourself, and that kind of brings us to our topic tonight. Is a little different than what we normally do
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
having like a musical guest or a business entrepreneur. Tonight we have one of our friends who's also an advocate for the epidemic going on with heroin use and drugs and alcohol, and he started, and I'm sure if any of you know us, you might know of him as well. Maddie Perlick is here tonight, so
We know him as Maddie P.
Maddie
Woo-hoo,
P,
you know?
yes. So we appreciate him being here tonight. Also, he has a guest with him who's going to share her story, and we'll be able to, give a little bit of an insight on the other side of it and how you can really beat this if you are struggling.
You know what it is? It's every day, especially now because everyone, with the whole social media knows somebody who knows somebody that either, you've lost someone or you know somebody who's struggling with it. It is so sad, and it's just become so. I know it's been around for a while, but now it's just like it's really coming out right now.
This is when it's the worst.
And it's like you really didn't realize how bad this epidemic is, and it just keeps getting closer and closer to home, because every day I know there's somebody that I see, on Facebook, on Instagram, somebody passed every day, and you're like, what?
So,
What are
yeah.
you kidding me? What? I can't believe, like, every day. So,
I've lost a number of friends from growing up already to this. So it definitely hits home. And friends of mine, close friends of mine, have lost family members. And, it's scary because it's happening to the people that you're close with. It's happening to the people that you know of, that you grew up with, or, in your community. And, a couple of things we did want to touch on before we bring Maddie out, because primarily we want to find out information from them, but two things that we kind of looked into was maybe people don't necessarily know, but actually 1 out of every 4 people, which is 25%, for any length of time, they're rapidly becoming dependent. So it's 1 out of 4 people that have done this, and they've done it rapidly, like they're doing it at a rapid rate, are becoming dependent on it. And people don't understand how addicting this could be. And the thing that I knew of, from growing up, or like now, obviously, like now that it's becoming worse because you hear about how bad it is now and why is it so bad, people should know like how bad this is, But the thing that people might not know is that the people that are going straight to doing this drug, is what they say is prescription drugs. People were doing that, and it became harder for people to get these prescription drugs. But their dependency on them was so great that once the crackdown became higher on, crooked doctors or pill mills, they actually, the drug dealers found that this was a lot cost effective, and they would just push it. That's what they were, pushing towards for people to start using. So, I mean, and this,
It's just terrible. Shame on you guys. I'm sorry. Shame on you, drug dealers. And for the people, it's hard to judge. The people who are dependent or who are using or who, it's hard. You're on the other side, so you probably, it's a very touchy subject, because you don't want to. You can, if you're not in the position, you can say, oh, how can that be? Oh, I would never. Oh, why even, all the questions of why it even start, what made you do this? So regardless of how it started or why it started, the point is that society now, the majority, they're hooked on it. And the sad part about it is that they're becoming younger.
Yeah.
So more teenagers.
They're experimenting younger.
They're experimenting on it, and then you would think, the city kids or more, and now it's just like you would never think it's more, in the rural areas, more.
But that was the thing too. Like when I was younger, I went to a public school, and we all, experimented in different things. Marijuana, maybe a little like seed blow. I mean, and these are all serious things, yes. But like when we were thinking about like heavier drugs, like we always thought, oh, well, it's happening more in the private schools because they have the money for it, and people would be like, oh, well, they have more money, so they're doing worse drugs.
Easier.
Right. But so it doesn't really matter where you live, who you're friends with. I mean, whether you have money or you don't have money, if there's ways to access this, and especially young people are looking to experiment with this, then it's going to happen. It doesn't matter where.
Yeah, well,
And
that's
every
why we
part
have
of the
to
country.
be. We have to be. That's why us together, all as the older, I guess, generation, to help the newer and the younger generation to stop them from trying to experiment. And no, it's not okay. I don't feel it's okay as a growing process. Or they need to, because no, why give them the okay or the chance to, what I'm saying? I know a lot of, people, parents nowadays that tend to be a lot lenient and want to.
Or there's not two parents in the house. The situations are a lot different
So
these
we
days.
all have to be, a little bit more conscious and help, how we can fight this. And with that being said, I think
we should bring
who
our guests
would be
out.
greater to give us a little bit more insight on this. So we're gonna bring out our guest, Maddie P.
Maddie, Mike, you ready? Hello, hello.
Hello.
You know what? You can sit right here in the middle. I'm
We
gonna
get them
move
crossing
down.
right through the cameras.
That's okay.
There we go.
This button.
That button.
There you go. You're ready.
Hi.
So what's up?
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my
Yes,
God,
absolutely.
it's so exciting.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
No problem.
I mean, this is like really important, obviously, to a lot of people. So we're glad that you were able to make it here, and we know you have a special guest that you're going to bring on too. But we want to kind of like find out a little bit more about what you do and how you started it. And I know that. So you started your own organization, AIR, right? I mean, explain to us a little bit like what it stands for and how it started.
So I got my master's in social work from Stony Brook about 5 years ago, and I really didn't know too much about this epidemic. I really was kind of naive. I thought that if you have a drug problem, you go to rehab and you get
Right.
out and you're good and everything's fine, and I didn't understand what it really took for somebody to get better and how difficult it is to get into the treatment. So when I was in grad school, I met a mom whose son was addicted to heroin, and she was explaining what it's like being, a parent, not knowing, if they wake up in the morning, if the child could pass away from it, and the lying, and money missing, and losing jobs, and not hanging out with the same friends, and all these different things. So I was able to sit down and speak with her son. And she was saying, for I think it was 7 or 8 years that this has been going on, and he doesn't want any help. He doesn't want to go to treatment. And the crazy part about it is a lot of these people are just so in over their head, and they don't want to be doing this. It's just they don't know how to go about it.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just being able to bridge that gap in communication between a parent and a child. And as soon as I sat down with this person, it was like, nah, I would go to rehab tomorrow. It's just I don't know what to do, and my mom doesn't get it, and she's always yelling at me, and it was just really being able to communicate with the person struggling, and then also be able to communicate with the parent and try to bridge the gap of trying to help that person. So from there, they had a friend, and then they had a neighbor and a cousin, and before you knew it, people were reaching out to me for helping their family member with addiction. So that's where I got involved with, starting my own company, which is AIR. It's Addiction Intervention Recovery. That's what it stands for. And it was to really educate the parents, kind of coach them through the process, advocate for their loved one, because a lot of times it's, they've done a lot of things in the past, a lot of lying, they've gotten in trouble, they've, gone through the gauntlet of stealing from them and, hawking jewelry and robbing money and whatever they could do to support that habit. And, there's a lot of animosity between the family members as this is going on, and it's, other family members saying, oh, you need to be harder on him or her, or you're too mean to them, and it's really a lot of back and forth between family members, and what happens is everyone starts fighting, and there's no help being, there's no help for the person struggling.
You think it helps for the parents to understand how to handle the situation? You think that helps the situation as far as the recovery process?
100%. The way I go into it is a lot of times a parent would say, oh, you need to speak to my kid or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, I need to speak to you because it's a family addiction. Everybody in the family is affected by it. And the way I go about it is if everybody's not on the same page, it's all for nothing.
Right.
Because as an example, if you sit down with everybody and you have a plan and the person needs to go into some type of treatment, and let's say a long-term inpatient program, and everyone doesn't understand that component of it, and then the person's, you know, right there about ready to agree to go into the treatment, and then the last second they get scared and they're like, no, I'm not going to go to rehab, I'm just going to go to meetings, or you could drug test me and I'll still
Why
stay
do you
at
think
home.
they're scared? Because what, they don't want to get better, or because why would they be scared?
Addiction is a fear-based disease. Everything about this has fear in it. So it's being uncomfortable and having a solution to kind of help you through it. Just like when people go out, maybe that aren't addicts or addicted to drugs, but you know, you go out to dinner, you have a glass of wine to unwind. It's just to alter your mood and make you more comfortable. So for them, it's like if they try the substance, you know, they're called painkillers for a reason. You know, it calms you, it kills the pain, it kills that discomfort. So when you get addicted to opiates, what ends up happening is you go through withdrawals. So it's not as simple as, what are you doing? Just stop doing this. It's if I stop, you know, taking these, I get very sick and, you know, violently ill. So you're afraid to go through the withdrawals. And then there's other parts where you're afraid to really explain to your family what's going on. You know, sometimes the families are so close that the kid is just like, I can't do this to my parents. Like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
So a lot of that has to do with just that communication. So when I first started doing it, it was to sit down with the families, coach them through it, educate them on it, and then to be able to sit down with the person struggling and explain to them, look, there's a better way of doing this. You don't have to keep lying and going through all these ups and downs, because at the end of the day, everyone wants the same thing. The family member wants their loved one to be safe, and the person going through it doesn't want to be going through it either. You know, they're just really struggling.
Do you think that that it takes I don't want to say, do you think it takes a strong-willed person to say, no, I'm not going to do this? Or why do you think it's so easily? And I only ask because I don't come close to nearly, but I suffer from major back pain, my lower back pain. I have for many years. I wake up, you know, sometimes crying, sometimes I can't even walk. You know, I go to therapy. I've tried, you know, there's a lot of things. It's like a long-term pain that I just kind of like put behind my mind. And I've tried, you know, a painkiller here and there. And I just, myself, I never really liked the feeling of how it made me feel, because yeah, it eases the pain, I guess, but then I don't function the same way.
Your senses are all off.
Exactly. So I'm like, I don't want to take this. So I just rather put this pain in the back of my mind, and I just like deal with it day by day. So how did, you know, knowing that it eases the pain, but yet I never said, oh, I need to try this again. I need to, you know, do you feel it's because am I a strong-willed person to say, I'm not going to that. I don't want to get addicted to that. I'm not gonna.
Well, I think today there's a lot more knowledge and education to it.
I just want to fix your mic. Somebody said it was hard to hear you. Maybe turn up the volume a little bit. We don't want anybody. No, we just don't want anybody. Richie said it's hard to hear him.
Richie P?
Yes,
Richie
Richie
P.
P also said he has a man crush on you.
I love Richie P. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
Kids, it better now, guys? Can you hear him a little better? Say testing, testing,
Testing,
Maybe
testing.
talk a little.
testing.
Testing.
Hello,
Oh, there you go. Maybe put it up by your.
Should I just put it
Up here by your neck. There you go.
Touch
See,
my
she's got
chest
big
again.
boobs, so they kind of like go right up there into her face. I think, okay, we're good.
Better?
Are we
yes.
good, Rich?
Richie, we got it? All right.
I guess. Okay.
We'll be good.
All right.
Sorry.
So what are we saying?
Yeah, I forgot.
Okay,
About
yeah, we're-
having the willpower and what, I mean,
Yeah.
these kids most likely though, I mean, I'm sure primarily the kids that you deal with and the families you deal with, but how did they, like, what would you say is the number one reason why they start doing it, or like how they got involved in doing it in the first place?
Well, opiates, I look at it completely different than other types of drugs. You know, people are going to experiment with marijuana. They're going to rite of passage is drinking as you're, getting older. But with opiates, it doesn't matter who you are, you could really get gobbled up by that,
Okay.
like very, very quickly. So as an example, you could be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, you break your leg skiing, and you get prescribed these pills, maybe you have like all these surgeries or whatnot, and that, if you're on those long enough, that will bring you to your knees, just like, anybody else going through it. So your background, your maturity, how successful you are, adversities you've gone through in your life, none of that's going to matter if you get caught in this. So it's not as simple as, what are you doing? Just stop doing it. It's like when
Right.
you're in it, it's too late. You're in it. So I feel like today there's been such a change with the way that opiates are being prescribed. It's definitely a lot harder to get them. A couple of years ago, if you get your tooth pulled, they would prescribe you like 50, Roxys or
Percocet, yeah.
Percocets or whatever. So they're definitely making a big change on that. And, the way I kind of describe it is we don't have a heroin problem. We have a pain pill problem that led to this heroin.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times someone isn't just going to try heroin. It's they're taking pills, they get addicted, they start going through withdrawals, then they start, going through resources, and then when you run out of all your other options, somebody
harder.
says, yeah, look, this is cheaper, just do a little bit, don't use IV, just sniff it, and it's before
And
you
these
know
days,
it.
you don't even know what you're getting. I
No.
mean, people are just mixing things
Yeah, the
Yeah.
and
fentanyl.
saying that it's
Absolutely.
one thing. I mean,
And
anybody that tells you any drug is there, it's bad. But like when you don't even, when it's not even what you think it is, and it's mixed with even more horrible things, like something that could just kill you instantly.
I've heard that Ajax, stuff like Ajax that mix in with because it's white, you don't even, and it's a part, like all these things that you really don't know. But even like on television, it's just a coincidence that last night, and too bad that I didn't get to pick up on the name of the show, but I was watching, I guess, a documentary, I guess, somewhere in Arkansas, and they were following a family of heroin addicts. So it was like the mom. Plus, she had like 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, and then the 2 boys were addicted just like her, and they were just all in the house, just doing drugs.
Yeah,
Just
I mean, they
and-
do that. It's just like that show, Intervention. Yeah, where they follow the person that's whatever the addiction is that they're going through, and they follow them around, and you're watching them actually do this, like on.
Yeah, it's a little
on
it's
TV,
a
and then
little
at the
intimidating.
end,
like
yeah.
it's a little like, oh my god, like how how many people are scared to go to the doctors and get a shot, and you really need it, and you're like, just imagine just seeing these people doing it, like. Like I said, I get
Their
a little
families,
bit. I
imagine their
get
families
so,
go through.
yeah, like I get. I don't want to say I would get angry, but I just get like so like why? Like don't do it. Like what is it? It's gonna kill. Like my God, I'm so afraid. Like everybody knows I'm like the most innocent person that I haven't. We
Yeah,
worked it together,
long time.
and I'm so naive and I'm so gullible when it comes to all the stuff that I don't like. I really don't like to be near it. I don't really, But let me ask you, how bad do you think right now, where we are in Long Island, is the epidemic? How
Horrible.
bad?
I was gonna say, as crazy as it sounds, it's almost like I wish that they weren't making changes to it, because we have such a bad pill problem, but they're regulated. It's FDA approved. You know exactly what you're getting.
Okay.
So now that you crack down on the pills, now you switch to heroin and the fentanyl, and you don't really know what's going on or what you're ingesting. And so now, a lot of these kids don't get a second chance. A lot of people are using once and passing
And you
away
know
from
what?
it.
And because you just mentioned that too, I also wanted to. It's not really a shout out, but I want to send my heartfelt condolences to a friend out in Florida, Monica. She just recently lost her son, and she said that the medical examiner, identified that the cause was fentanyl. And I couldn't even fathom the idea of losing someone, but especially just your son, and it's as young as my son, and it's just like my heart goes out, to her, and my heart goes out to everyone who has lost someone, and that's why I'm so glad that there is somebody like you who's, putting a foot forward and just trying to, I guess, find different methods and ways to help the families, help the people who are addicted.
Yeah, when I first started doing it, maybe I was naive or maybe I was just lucky, but there weren't that many people that I was working with that passed away. And, each and every one of them is heartbreaking in itself. But in the last year and a half, it was like I was hearing about 2 or 3 people a week, where I might have had 2 or 3 people a year the first 2 or 3 years, and that's how, it's horrible. And for me personally, there wasn't enough balance in the way I was doing it. So.
And you know what? But the thing too is, even if you can help one person, you can't obviously help everybody, but as long as you can help that 1 or 2 people, and you did that, I mean, you have to feel pretty good, right?
It's amazing. The girl I have here with me today, her story is incredible.
And we definitely want to get her out, so we have time to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think or do you think not there's enough being done here in Long Island?
It's so hard. Like I could talk about this for weeks, but you're talking about the generation of kids. I call them kids, but it could be anyone in their 30s. But it's just no one likes to be uncomfortable. A lot of times I'll tell a parent, look, your kid doesn't have a drug problem. He doesn't know the word no. So if you're in your 30s and you don't know the word no, and now you're trying to have people around you set boundaries and try to limit certain things, it's not going to work. Yeah. So you're talking about people that don't like to be uncomfortable. They're taking a substance to make things easier. Then it gets so out of control that if you stop taking it physically, it's painful. How are they going to stop? How are they going to be able to do it? And, a lot of times it's like families look at it like, what are you doing? Just stop. You just lost your job. You just got in a car accident. You just got arrested. Your friend just passed away. And none of that stuff matters. And the way to really put it into perspective is you'll look at a woman who might be pregnant and she's using and she's shooting heroin, and you kind of look at her like, how could you do this? You're carrying a child. And instead of looking at it like, what kind of person are you, this is how bad it is.
Yeah.
That you still can't stop. You're still incapable of stopping when this is going on, and that's a big eye-opener. And if you go through something like that, it really, really resonates of how difficult this is to recover from this stuff. But it's very possible. It's just a lot of people.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
too.
It's a lot of work.
And what about like the authorities and all that? Are they doing enough to try and crack down? Or?
They're doing a lot more. There's no question. And again, there's no disrespect on their approach, but it's almost like I feel like it's making it worse, because you can't arrest your way out of this epidemic. If you're addicted, you're already, it doesn't matter. It does not matter if you get arrested, or now what's going on is they're arresting shipments of heroin. So now that's where this fentanol is coming in. So when the heroin is off,
there's always something.
I do have a question, because this is something I didn't want to forget. Now, from what I understand, is if somebody does have an overdose, there, I guess, is like a law, or there's a right, the people have a right where if you're with somebody that has an overdose, you by law have to report it, and you cannot get arrested for using, or you can't get arrested
There's the Good Samaritan law.
Yes, that's it. That's what I was going to think of. Good Samaritan law, where, because they want you to save the person's life, because they have Narcan. Yeah. And Narcan can be used now, to help anybody that's overdosing, revival. So, from what I understand is, a friend of mine had died from a drug overdose, and he, from what I understand, was with somebody, and the person was afraid to call 911, and they just wound up leaving, and they say, oh, well, if they had called 911 because they were afraid that, they were going to get in trouble, that they didn't call 911, but if they did, maybe he'd still be here. So, like, people are, they're not cracking down on it, because, if people are afraid to call the cops or call 911 if somebody is going through, a possible overdose, what are they going to do? These people are scared.
Yep,
like you said, like, it's the fear.
It's fear.
So, what do you think of Narcan too? Like, do you think people kind of abuse, they'll continue doing it instead of get help because they think like, oh, I'll just keep getting
and I've
help
heard
with that?
I've heard people kind of look at it like, I can't believe that they're wasting all this money with Narcan. They don't learn. They keep overdosing. And it's like, there's two different people. There's your loved one. There's your child. There's probably an amazing person, and then there's your child addicted to these drugs. And it's not even close. It's especially for me, because I sit down face to face with all the families. So I sit down with that, heartbroken parent that's trying to describe, this isn't my kid. I don't even know who this person is. And then the other people just see the addict version of them, and they're like, F this, and we're wasting resources. There's so many kids that, have gotten second, third, fourth, fifth chances, and they're doing amazing. And that's the problem with this. Not everybody gets those opportunities.
Right, absolutely.
But I think Narcan is incredible. I think the numbers would be, oh my God, it would be so much worse if they didn't have that as a resource.
So really quick, because I know we don't want to run out of time. We want to get Brianna out here so she could tell her story. And where can we have her sit? On this side next to me? We're going to have to shuffle down.
We'll shuffle down this
But
side.
Brianna, obviously, she was not a client, but she was somebody that you had worked with while she was going through this, or she's like a mentor. Is she like a mentor now herself?
Her story is great because usually it kind of happens word of mouth. Another family will say, listen, call Maddie, this is what he did for us. And that's not how it happened with them. Her sister, I think, found me on like a Google search, and it was so random. And I was kind of walking into that blind, because it's, who's this guy walking in my house trying to tell me what to do with my child?
Right.
So it's a lot easier if some other friend or family member went through it and can kind of vouch for me and say this is what he's done.
Okay.
So that was like a mad scramble of, all right, there's a family that has no idea who I am. They're going through it. Let me try to introduce myself, explain what's going on, calm everybody down, get everyone on the same page, and then be able to address things with their daughter, and then be able to try to help her get into some treatment. And she's a success story, no question.
Right.
Awesome. So let's bring her out.
Let's bring her out, Brianne.
Brianna. So
right.
Brianna, I'm gonna shuffle on down here. Come on, sit right here. Unless you want to sit next to Matt.
No, it doesn't matter.
How are you, hon?
I'm good. How are you
I'm
guys?
so glad that you're here. We're very happy to have you here, and we appreciate you being able to come on and share your story. So feel totally comfortable, and tell us how old are you when you kind of started leaning towards doing what you were doing?
Well, like you were saying, I always in high school and stuff like that, you experiment. I guess it was towards, I did drugs for fun. I did drugs as like a social lubricant, I drank and I used also, as I got sober, I got to see why I really got down to using, but I won't really get into that right now. Around probably 23, 21, I met my boyfriend. We were together for a pretty long time. We dabbled with everything here and there. It wasn't until 23 that we started experimenting with the pills. And you were saying, the whole willpower thing, and you were saying that you get sick when you do them. When I took it, I did it, and I would clean my room. I loved the feeling.
Okay.
It wasn't like I was sick, I was throwing up. It was I did it and I was ooh, okay, this it filled something in me. Something that was missing.
It's
It
a different effect on
it
different people.
I just for me it just made everything better. I came from, I grew up Italian, most of my family on the same block. Sorry. So
much closer to us.
yeah. I grew up with a lot of my family on the block, and they're really I didn't come from tragedy or anything like that. There really wasn't a reason. It was me.
So do you think it started off as fun experimenting, just to
Fun experimenting, but when I did it, like the feeling that I got from it, like that's why I kept going back to it.
But
you know?
were you not aware, like what could it do or what, like
Oh,
wasn't that cross your mind?
Absolutely. You know, but when you're in high school and kids are saying, try this, you'll feel this, you're like, okay, I'll do it. And then you try one thing and then you're like, wait, that feels better than this. Okay, I'll try it. You know, like, I don't know.
Drugs serve a purpose for people. You know, people don't do drugs to piss off their parents.
Right.
It does, you know, you're filling a void or you're enhancing a feeling or a
Yeah.
motivation. It's the same thing when people get addicted to like Adderall. But then what happens is it gets too much.
Yeah.
And so in the beginning, you don't really see those problems. But as
Or you don't think
You don't
Yeah.
think you don't
Yeah,
see
you don't-
yourself as the junkie that can't stop.
Right.
You know, because I was able to put it down, but I wouldn't be able to say stop for long. You know, like I would be like, all right, if I get through this week of school, on the weekends I could just binge. And at first it started off as like weekend things, you know, and then it became more than that. So like I was saying, I met the man that I was with when I was 21.
boy,
boy,
Boy.
boy.
Bye, boy.
we experimented with everything, but we really got into pills at like 23, and it was his best friend's aunt. She would be prescribed them and she would sell them to us because she needed the money. And after a little while, like I couldn't stop with them. And he would tell me that he stopped, like, so then he started using heroin. So then but he like knew what the heroin withdrawals were like. So it was like, I could see now that like his intentions were to get me to stop by saying like, look, I'm off the pills, the withdrawals weren't that bad. And I'm like how did he stop, you know? And I can't stop, like I like need them. So one day I like woke up and, well, I didn't just wake up. All night I was up and down because I was withdrawing off the Percocets, and I must take like 4 or 5 showers because I wake up like in a puddle of my own sweat. My legs were kicking, like you feel it
Now, did
in
you
your
live with
bones.
with your family at this time?
I
or-
lived with my family at this time, yeah.
And did they
and
see this going to
They
understand?
saw something going on. You know, he was prescribed Xanax, so they thought he was abusing his Xanax, and they thought that I was like hiding him. They thought like he had the problem and I was just like hiding him. You know,
Was he with you when you were going through the withdrawals?
yeah, and he would just be like, they're not that bad, they're not that bad, they're not that bad. So one morning I woke up and I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. So I went through his wallet and I found the heroin, and I remember I went into the bathroom and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this because I wanna see why he would lie to me, like why he would be hiding this from me. You know, what's so good about this? But like really, I was withdrawing. I needed something.
Right.
I wasn't going to be able to go to work. I've been calling, you know, whenever I withdraw, I have to call out because I can't take care of myself. How am I going to go take care of other people? You know? So I tried it, and it was just the tiniest amount, and it got me through most of the day. So I'm like, oh my God, it's cheaper. Well, at this point, I was stealing it from him. You know, he didn't even know that I started doing that, you know? Which now I know that, now looking back with a clear mind, I realized that I could have killed him. He could have went to bed that night thinking like, oh, I did 3 bags, but when he woke up, he did 5 bags. You know, like the 5 were missing. So then the next day he could have sat down and wound up doing 5 bags, and he could have overdosed. You know, towards the end, at night, he would be like completely zonked out, and I remember I would like shake him awake and be like, get up, you know, can you count to 10 for me? If you can't count to 10, I'm gonna call an ambulance. And I remember most nights I would just sit up crying, and I just pray to God. I'd just be like, if you make it so that we both wake up in the morning, like I'll get us help. I'm the strong one. I wasn't the strong one. You know, in the next morning we'd both wake up and I would just never get us help, you know? So I knew my luck was,
How long were you an addict for?
with the pills, like a year, and then at this point, it was like 3 months of using heroin.
That's not even. And you
It's
think
not
it's
even
that
a lot,
long.
but so it got to the point where now my obsession wasn't just the drug. Like I wasn't obsessed with the drugs. Now it was like I'm realizing that I need these drugs to be able to live, and that wasn't like sitting well with me. And my obsession became with wanting to kill myself. So I would like sit in my room and I would write out these suicide notes to my parents, and I try to figure out like, if I were to kill myself, do I leave these suicide notes for my parents to find and know that like I love them and that like I just couldn't live like this anymore. And it was fear. It was fear of like, am I going to be like all those other people that you hear go to rehab and then come out and they use again? Like, is this just my life? Because now I can't picture my life without it. And, you know, my disease wants to tell me that I can't live without it. So it was like towards like, honestly, like I was getting to a point where like I was giving myself a deadline. Like either I get help or I just go through with it and I kill myself. And one morning I woke up. So that was like a Wednesday night. That was like a Tuesday night. And I gave myself till Friday, because Friday was when I got paid and I'd be able to get enough to be able to kill myself. So I went to work with my mom. Well, no, I didn't go to work with my mom. Me, my mom, and my sister worked together. So I went into work late, like any good addict. And my mom came downstairs and she was like, I get mother's intuition. She's like, I know something's up. Like you need to be honest with me. And to be honest with you, I was in such a fog. I don't even know I don't know what I said, but she got the gist of it. We left that day and she just drove around going to different hospitals to just like, she was going to bring me in and just leave me there because she didn't know what to do with me. But my sister called and said she got in touch with Maddie. And I was just passed out in my passenger seat. Like I just said everything to my mom and I just passed out in the passenger seat. So when I get home, were you there when I got home? I don't know.
No,
I think you weren't home. I mean, you weren't at my house. You weren't home. He's one of the family now. So I get home. My sister lives in our 3-bedroom apartment, and I go in there, and my mom didn't know it was heroin. And it's funny because it's like a drug is a drug is a drug. Like if you're addicted, like alcoholics, like you know like
I
they
lost my mother
can't
to alcohol addiction.
Yeah, they can't stop. You know, so I went into my sister and my brother, and they were like, "But what are you doing?" And I said heroin, and they were devastated. You know, my sister went running into my mom, and she was like, before she tells you, I just want you to be prepared. And like, I didn't know, but my mom was like, my dad was diagnosed with early stages of dementia, and like, he's okay now. He's on the pill, like to prolong the effects. And she was saying to my dad, if you can't handle this, like if you're gonna say stuff that's gonna upset her, like you need to go lock yourself in your room because we need to get her into treatment. Like whatever the interventionist says that we need to do, like that's what we're doing. And if you can't do that, then you need to go somewhere. So my sister ran in and told my mom, and it's just crazy because if it was like, I just think it's crazy that if it was something, the way she reacted when it was heroin, because heroin has this stigma, you know, like whenever you say heroin, yeah, but like I said, like you could get addicted to anything. It really is like the person, you know? Mm-hmm. So such a fog that day. So then Maddie got there and he like sat down with me and my family, and I remember I was like trying to like explain to them like, just like why, well first my brother was like, why the fuck would you try this stuff? And like he's throwing stuff, and my dad's in the next room. I thought my dad was gonna freak out on me, and my dad just kept saying, the devil got my daughter, the devil got my daughter, and that's all he kept saying. And Maddie had to like explain, and that's why like I trusted him so much, because I'm trying to like tell them how I'm feeling and like why I did it and how it got this bad.
Did you feel at that time that you needed to use, like, did you feel like you needed to get more drugs? Were you already?
I'm sure I was going in my room and
doing it
when
moment,
like if I needed a, you know, or they were talking and I was able to get out of there. I'm sure.
How long were you doing now this though, doing the advocating before you met her, and like how experienced
Probably
were you?
3 or 4 years at that point. 3 years.
And you've been doing it how long now?
5.
Okay.
So you've been clean how long?
15 months, almost 16.
Congratulations.
I gotta give you a hug. I'm so happy because you know what? Listening to your story was like, first off, God bless you for being able to come out and be so open and honest about what you went through and give kind of people a sense of how easy it is and
Yeah.
how, you know, it could be happening to anybody in your family or your friends. And, you know, your recovery, I mean, how long, like, what, because we don't have too much time
Yeah.
left, so we just want to make sure we get everything in. And when you started now, when Maddie came, and what was like the first step into your recovery, and how long did it take?
For me, it was rehab. He said that I was gonna go to California, and I was like, my first reaction was like, yeah, good luck getting them to like let me leave, because my family's so close. They want to be there
it.
for me, and Maddie was like, no, she needs to go. And like he was saying, like he was a stranger coming into our house, and my family just didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to do, and they were like, we're putting it in your hands.
Yeah,
Like,
we
you're
trust
the
you.
professional, you know? And before he left that night, it's funny because I knew that if my mom drove me to the airport, I'd be able to manipulate her.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what came over me, but I asked Maddie to drive me. And I said, if you don't take me, I'll be able to get my mom into not letting me go. And I need
So
to
you
do this.
knew at that point that this is it. I have to do this for
I had-
myself. Like you knew.
My mindset, to be honest with you, was I need to give this a real good go because I could always kill myself later. Like, I could always kill myself later. Like, if my family knows that I gave this a good try, maybe it'll be easier when I kill myself. You know, and that was really my mindset.
Do you come in contact with other that's been in your position and you're able to talk?
absolutely.
Do you feel that telling your story and
Well,
letting them
that's
know
how-
what you're able to help them and
That's how I fill the void. You know, like what the drugs
Excellent.
used to give me. That's what helping other alcoholics or addicts,
that's wonderful.
I get to go to rehabs and speak to people. Like, most of my friends are recovered drug addicts or alcoholics. Like, and it's amazing because it's like anything I'm going through, like, they get it. And our brains are so wired differently, just like the way that we think.
So do you feel that you have a purpose and you feel like you have to now open the minds of this new generation that wants to try it and are you the ones to step up and say, you know?
I don't go to schools and stuff like that and educate people. I'm more or less like going into rehabs and giving people like hope that like recovery does, if you work it, like it does work. Like if you.
But it's good that you know, it's nice to be able, you know, to have someone like you to be able to, you know, express and tell your story because maybe they'll change somebody's mind about
Absolutely.
wanting to ever, you know,
Yeah.
to try that. So
We
from the bottom
appreciate
of our
both of
hearts,
it.
we appreciate you so much for coming in and telling your story. I don't know you,
I wish
but
we
I'm
had
so
more
proud.
time.
Very proud, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely
very
so
proud of you. I mean, that's
So
like
very proud of
something
you,
think
Maddie.
Not a lot of people could do.
Thank you
you
so
gotta
much.
Be proud of that.
Thank you.
And you're so beautiful. Oh my God, look at you. I was just told her before. I was like, your hair.
She
everything's
said you tell her
fresh.
story. She's like, look at the hair.
I'm
I
like,
wish
look
my hair
at
was
this girl's hair. It's hot. But one thing we wanted to bring up is your website, right? Which I'm gonna read it, or you could just say it. But
Yeah, it's LI for Long Island, liheroinhelp.com, and the name of my company I set up is AIR, Addiction Intervention Recovery.
Yeah, so if you guys know anybody that you think might be struggling with this, or a family member, or somebody that could really use just somebody to talk to, I mean, before you even take the step to recovery, please contact Maddie. Your social media obviously is what
Busy.
for Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
Maddie P.
Maddie P.
Just Maddie P.
Maddie P.
Maddie
And
Pruitt,
anything
yeah.
you guys want to say? Anything you want to say before we sign off?
No, I just appreciate you guys having me here.
Well, we
you.
appreciate you coming on and
Yes.
telling your story. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, Patty P. Continue doing what you're doing. You're absolutely, you know, a terrific
Inspirational.
role model, and we need more of you.
Who would have ever thought that people would say that? Thank you for having
Well,
me.
I hope everyone that's tuned in right now to Could Be You TV enjoyed this special segment on this terrible epidemic that's going on, and you have firsthand Maddie P, who's helping to advocate, and we have Brianna to help tell her story, and I hope you know,
Take a little bit of it with you and keep in mind.
keep
you
your
know, what
close
people
ones,
go through.
you know, in mind,
And reach out.
yes, absolutely.
Support, make sure you share, make sure you get the word out what they're doing here because it's really important, especially where we are. So we love you
So,
guys. Thank you.
Have a good night. We'll see you next Tuesday. Same channel, same place. Love ya.